Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and my law firm assists physicians with employment contract and medical board issues. Today I'm going to talk about whether you can become a physician with a past felony. So this is not going to be a state-specific discussion. So every medical board in every different state has different rules, and so I would suggest specifically reaching out and trying to find what the rules are as far as felony bars for physicians. This is going to be kind of a general discussion of what you need to kind of think about if you have a felony in your past and you're either maybe in medical school, in residency, or fellowship, and then you're ultimately going to have to apply potentially to a new licensing board, and kind of how they'll think about that. So the first thing is what type of felony it was. There are degrees of felonies, obviously. And so what you specifically did is going to impact whether a board feels like they should license you or not. Any kind of violent crimes are difficult. If it's kind of drug or substance abuse related, that's usually much easier to deal with. So think about this from the board's perspective. Let's just assume there are no laws on the books that say a physician who applies for a license in this state is just absolutely barred if they have a past felony. It's very unlikely that the board that you're going to be applying to has a rule like that. Most of the medical boards will look at each case on a case-by-case basis. Now, there may be rules that state if the physician is currently licensed and then gets a felony, that it might be an automatic revocation. But most of them don't just simply bar any kind of applications for past felonies. So, as I said before, they're going to look at, all right, well, what was the felony? And then how long ago did it happen? How many different criminal incidents were there? And then certainly, as I said before, the type. Any kind of felony-related incident that the physician kind of rehabilitate from is going to be something that the board will be willing to work with. As I said before, if it's substance abuse or drug-related, well, that's pretty easy to rehabilitate from. You go to AA or NA. You go to therapy or group counseling, you take random drug screens, you stop doing drugs or drinking alcohol. You can show a prolonged period of sobriety. All of these things are the things that the board's going to care about, and they're going to certainly check into. So if you did have a drug-related felony and then had to go to rehab or an intensive outpatient treatment program or something like that, they're going to want to see proof that you did all of those things. So you want to certainly keep all of the records associated with any kind of rehab that you have. Now, what if it's something different that you can't rehabilitate from? Maybe like I said before, a violent crime or, assault, domestic violence, something like that. Well, you need to show that things have changed in your life from what happened at the time until the time that you apply, so the board can see you've at least learned from the incident, have grown from it, and then may have incorporated positive changes into your life, that show that you have, made positive steps since the felony occurred. The board wants to see that someone is regulatable, and then ultimately that they're able to provide safe patient care. That's the stated mission of every licensing board, is to protect the public. They're not there to protect the doctor. So if their mission is to protect the public, you need to make certain that the board understands and feels comfortable issuing the license so that public safety is not going to be an issue. Now, how to handle this? I would suggest, obviously, many people go into medical school, and then they might go into residency in a different state, and then they plan on going into a different state when they ultimately, finish training. Think about the state that's going to be Well, one, you're going to have to get a license if you're going into training. So that's kind of going to be the first hurdle. So you need to probably reach out to an attorney in the state where you're going to be going into training, and then just see, is this going to be an impediment? The past felony is going to be an impediment to me getting my license. If you can get licensed in one state, it's more likely than not that it won't be an issue in another state. It's just kind of common sense that if one state felt comfortable issuing a license to a doctor, that the other state will likely feel comfortable as well. Now, they're not beholden to any other state. So just because you got a license in one state doesn't mean you're going to get it in every state that you apply to. But in my experience, handling these kind of medical board cases, it is pretty likely that if board members see, all right, well, they're already licensed, they got through training without any problems, it's been 3 or 4 years, so it probably means this person is safe to practice, and then they're more likely to issue the license or not. So as I said before, reach out to an attorney who handles medical board issues in the state where you're going to get your training permit originally. Now, some medical boards have stricter scrutiny when you're applying for a full license once you're done with training versus just issuing a training permit or whatever kind of provisional license they have in that state to complete your residency. So it just makes sense to reach out to a medical board attorney in your state and just walk through all these things. If they have experience with the board, they should know the answers to those questions of, all right, okay, for people that have had this in their past, this is kind of what the board has done. Now, no attorney is going to be able to give you a 100% guarantee that you're going to get licensed if you've had something in your past. They cannot do that. So you just need to kind of assess all of the information you have available to you and then make an informed decision. Now, if you're watching this video and you're thinking, all right, I don't even know if I should go to medical school because of past felony. Well, once again, reach out to a board attorney in the state that maybe you're going to school in, and then they can kind of walk you through the scenario. Being a felon is not a complete bar to being a physician, but obviously it does have some major roadblocks associated with it, not only with getting a license ultimately, but when you start applying for jobs as well, and they do a criminal background check, they're going to see that, and you're going to have a pretty good explanation about what happened, and kind of let them, for all the things you had to show the board about your rehabilitation. It'll likely be the same scenario with an employer walking through. Now, most employers are more understanding than the licensing board, but it's going to be something you're most likely going to have to deal with for the rest of your career. Anyway, if you have any questions about an employment contract or medical board issues, we're in Arizona, so keep that in mind. But hopefully my information was kind of a good general primer on what to do if you have a felony in your past and you're thinking of becoming a physician, or if maybe you're in training and then get a felony. If you have any questions, you can always call my law firm at the phone number listed below in the description, or you can reach us through our website, ChelleLaw.com. And I appreciate you watching the video. Thanks.